to episode 10 of Love Every Day. Today is January 10th, and this is week 2, day 1. I'm your host, Jesse Marks, and it's been a little bit, but I'm joined by John McCrary once again.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is good to be back. After not being on air for like 5 days, I was starting to feel a little left out, so I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be back in the swing of things.
Yeah, it's good to have you back, man. But speaking of getting into the swing of things, should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, no sense in just waiting around. Today's prompt is, it is more blessed to give than to receive. What are your thoughts on that, Jesse?
I guess
so. My first disclaimer, real quick. Oops, I totally just asked you a question and then cut you off. That's kind of a tool thing to do. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I just wanted to put this disclaimer out there before like half of the audience of the 5 people that are gonna ever listen to this tap out from hearing the word blessed in it, because yes, it is a Bible verse. We should put that kind of like disclaimer out there. I mean, like, what do you think it means by it is more blessed to give than to receive? Because I don't necessarily translate that in like a necessarily like Christian kind of way, I guess. You know what I mean? I think anybody can apply that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just a simpler way to say it is it's just better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be putting more out there into the world than you are taking from it.
Right. So that whole idea of everything's a give and take isn't necessarily like super true, you know?
I mean, I would say it is true because everything is a give and take, but it's more important to give more than you take.
Well, but you shouldn't give and expect to take. You know what I mean? You should give.
Yeah, I guess that's
fair. And if you get to take, then awesome. If you don't get to take, this is such a weird phrasing of a sentence, but if you don't get to take, then whatever. You know what I mean? You should give without expecting anything.
I totally agree with that. What does that look like to you? Like, what are some like circumstances or something that would be helpful in?
First thing that pops to my head, because it wasn't all that long ago, it would be like Christmas. You know, I mean, like there's a lot of anxiety built up around Christmas, primarily for like, oh my god, what am I gonna get this person? Am I gonna get them the right thing? Is a gift card too insensitive? Am I not being caring enough? You know what I mean? I don't even know what this person likes. You know, like it's stressful for a lot of people. Like from my perspective, I guess the first person that comes to my mind would be my mama, because what's a bigger deal to her is that, like, for her the biggest present is like the family getting together. You know what I mean? As any mama bear is.
Yeah, because you don't always have to give physical things.
For sure,
it can be your time, it can be your knowledge, it can be whatever.
Definitely, but in her situation, she puts a lot of stress on herself about like getting the right things for everybody. She puts more pressure on herself about making everybody else happy that she does, like that's what's gonna make her happy. You know what I mean? So like the joy, the thing I take out of this prompt, I guess, is that the joy you give to others can bring joy to you.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think that's the important thing right there, is the joy that you get from giving. So something you said earlier made me think of when you give, sometimes it's not to others, sometimes it's to yourself. And I think that's an important thing to remember, that sometimes you work too hard, and it's important to give back to yourself. Yeah.
I'd say that's true. Kind of like what you and Thomas talked about the other day, about like finding time to take care of oneself and finding time to relax.
Yeah, rest and relaxation.
Yeah, rest and relaxation. Yep. Yeah. I think you can give that. Yeah. That'd be something that you can give to yourself for sure. But I think that takes away from the overall point of like finding joy and bringing joy to other people. You know what I mean? Like so this world, so we've talked about valuing your time, right? And that does tie back together with the whole give and take scenario, like where you value, in order to value your time, you weigh every possible action or opportunity you have to spend that time on and kind of deliberate, like, is this going to be worth my time? You know what I mean? Am I going to enjoy this enough? Mm-hmm. So, and this is kind of the other half of the coin, where it's like, maybe I need to stop thinking about myself as much. maybe I need to think about, is this going to bring joy to other people? And can I receive joy from giving that joy to other people? Does that make sense? Did I phrase that all right?
Yeah, it's thinking less selfishly.
Yeah.
And it's thinking about everyone else.
So, because like I've said in the past, like every single topic we talk about is going to be a fine balance.
It definitely will be.
So if you were to just go around and be like, oh, well, I was told that like I'm going to get joy from giving other people joy, so I'm going to give everything I have. And it's like, here, you get $1. You get $1. I only have $2 in my bank account, so I'm all out of dollars. but like, so you can't necessarily go around and just only worry about giving. Mm-hmm. God, that's kind of tough to think about, because it's like, man, on one hand, you shouldn't worry about giving and taking all the time. But on the other hand, you shouldn't worry about just giving, because then you're going to get taken advantage of, and then you're going to, it's not going to be a good situation. So it's just like, it's really a fine balance of like understanding what brings you joy. Doing a little bit of
there definitely
searching.
needs to be some sort of boundary in everything that you do, especially when it comes to giving and taking. There needs to be boundaries in how much you give and how much you take. When either one of those is free to do whatever you want, when there are no boundaries, it does get crazy and it does get hectic, and it does you can go overboard with it sometimes.
Right.
So what's your mindset then when you're thinking of it's more blessed to give than to receive? What's the mindset in that? Like, what does that look like? What
do you mean mindset?
I mean, for me, when I think of that, I'm thinking like you should be like humble and like respectful. What other ways of thinking? Like if you're struggling with this, what are some ways you can kind of start getting into that mindset?
I do this thing where I tend to devalue my own time. So like, instead of thinking about like, man, spending my time with these people, is that going to bring joy to them? I don't really think about that. You know what I mean? I think about more like, man, do these people even want me around? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, maybe I wish I could think about it from that perspective more of like, like I think these people do value my time. These people do want me around, and these people do get joy from me being around them. So if I were to think about it in that perspective more often, I think I would be able to be a little bit more positive about things. Rather than just doubting it all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's definitely something I struggle with as well. Kind of understanding and knowing or not knowing how much other people value my time.
Right.
I definitely lack that self-confidence sometimes, where it's like, do they like me? Do they want me to be around them?
So like, I think not only do we need to respect others with that, but I need to respect myself a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I need to hype myself up a little bit. I need to be like, nah, these people do want me around. You know what I mean? Like what am I giving? Like think back to like the last interaction that you had with a person, and like think about what you contributed to that conversation, and like what were you bringing that was positive? What were you bringing that was negative? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So focusing on like being a positive member of society, being a positive member of a group. You don't want to be like I don't consider myself like I used to be.
You don't want to be that person that's always negative around other people. Yeah,
and I used to really be like that. I used to be really gossipy. I used to talk about people negatively quite a bit. You know what I mean? So then in those circumstances, like, is my presence really bringing joy to other people? Probably not. So that's another way you can look at that too, is like, am I bringing something positive to the table? If it's a yes, then awesome. I'm going to value my time. I'm going to make sure that the people that I'm surrounding myself with are also bringing a positive atmosphere. And then if that answers kind of a tentative yes, or maybe even a tentative no, then that's when you need to start doing maybe just a little bit of soul searching and be like, okay, what am I bringing to the table that is negative, and what can I change that? Like, what can I do to change that? So I think like trying your hardest to make your presence always bring joy and always bring positivity, that's super huge. That's super important. That's what makes you a good person. Like we tend to bog ourselves down with these negative thoughts of like, well, I did this one thing that one time, and I did this one thing that one time. Is that really what defines you? I don't think so. I think your presence, your aura, the emotions that you bring, that speaks louder than any action.
It's kind of like the actions speak louder than words, but in this case, it's what you're giving to people speaks louder than your actions, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I guess so.
But I'm gonna play a quick Uno reverse card on this, and go back to the beginning of the conversation. So we've kind of been broadly talking about it's kind of better to give than to take, but the original like phrasing on this is it's better to give than to receive, not take. And those, I think, in my opinion, are two very different things, taking and receiving.
Okay.
And so I just kind of wanted to ask, what do you think what does that look like? The difference between taking and receiving?
Oof, I don't know, man. I'd say receiving is being given something. You know, taking is like taking what you think is justly deserved.
So we were just talking about kind of your actions or your contribution to group to conversations or to like group activities or whatever. Taking is, in my opinion, when you contribute that negative stuff, even though you're technically giving something to the conversation, you're still taking away from that positive attitude, from that positive environment. But the receiving is when
your positivity encourages others to give as well.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to say it.
I think leading by example. You know, like so giving and taking would be like, oh, I'm gonna be nice in the hopes that this person's nice to me. It should be more like, you know, I hope that my positivity rubs off on these people and encourages them to be more positive.
I mean, even just doing something where you don't expect anything from it, and you may or may not ever get something back. Just adding that positivity, I think it's kind of like what me and Thomas talked about a couple of days ago, that your silent efforts will be rewarded. That kind of those small positive things that you give, regardless of what you can expect to receive. You know, sometimes you'll never receive anything. Sometimes you never know if you will receive anything back. It's just giving that positivity regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sum that up.
Thank you guys for listening. Check out our socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you can find podcasts. If you need to, go to our website, loveeverydaythepodcast.com. We have all of our links there. Send in your voice messages, comments, feedback. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Remember to give and not necessarily be concerned with receiving. You know, remember to spread positivity with everywhere you go, because that's gonna create a positive atmosphere and a positive headspace, and that's what we're all about in 2021. If you start spreading love, I think that love's gonna come back to you.
Catch us tomorrow at the same time, 7 a.m. I'm Jesse.
And I am John.
And remember to always live your life with love and love your life every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.